Yesterday I also realized that radius sanding sucks. I used G&W radius sanding block with 80 grit paper and radius gauge to check it, but didn't come out good like it should. What kind of issues were you running into? Usually I don't go 80 for getting the rough radius in. The smallest grit that I do when I'm putting in a radius is 120 because 80 is really, really rough, and trying to get rid of all those scratches off of a fretboard is going to be a royal nightmare. So I would suggest only starting at 120. It is a pain. It does take a while, but it'll be much easier than going 80 and then from there on out. The radius didn't come out like it should have been. Edges were dropped. It wasn't level lengthwise as well. Could the sandpaper have caused this? Before you radius the fretboard, did you check that the neck was completely, or did you just have, either way, check that the neck or fretboard is completely straight. And then when you're sanding down, don't apply any pressure downwards, because if you press down, of course it's going to bend and not sand evenly. And then also depends on which way you're doing. If you're doing it like this, then you might, if you're not used to the movement, you might end up going like that, which changes it because you're not going completely lengthwise. So basically sanding this way around will give you, like straight ahead, will give you a much better chance of getting it completely straight and flat. Edges were dropped, wasn't level lengthwise. So the edges dropped out more. Well, basically that will happen because if you're sanding down to a radius, the edges are going to be the thing that go out the first. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the point where you're starting to take away material from the middle of the fretboard. Up until that point, you're just going to be sanding down the edge and slowly bringing it to the middle. I did sand in line with the neck though. Yeah, it can be a fuzzy thing, and all you can really do is just take it slow and keep checking in increments that you're taking away material evenly. How much fretboard do you have to work with? As in, how thick is your fretboard now at this point? That do you have room to sand down more? You do have it at 80 grit, so you do need to get rid of those 80 grit sander marks anyway, or the scratches. So I would suggest moving on to 120 and then going from there. Hopefully you have enough thickness on your fretboard to be able to do that. Not sure. He had it 8 mil thick. This was something I was afraid of happening. I haven't tried it before, so it was the first time on his. Luckily he accepted the chance of it not coming out good. Oh, quite a bummer. Yep, that is quite a bummer. What thickness is it now? Should probably check that, because you can still get away with it. Worst case scenario, you'll just have to do a new fretboard.